Well, good evening. I'm your host, Robert Wilson with Cowboy Wisdom Podcast. Tonight's podcast is 7 ways why you inherited trauma, why trauma and drama are inherited. It's 7 ways why trauma and drama are inherited. Trauma and drama are rarely born in the moment. They're echoes of inherited emotional architecture and snapshots. From our earliest days, we absorbed the unspoken rules and reactive patterns and energetic atmospheres of our caregivers, parents, daily life, and culture. These are never conscious choices, they're downloads because from the womb to 5 years old, you run strictly off your subconscious uh, landscape and terrain, and everything you encompass or encounter from the womb to 5 years old goes straight to the subconscious representation. Survival scripts pass through tone, tension, silence, and repetition. What we call personality is often just inherited programming. We label drama is frequently a rerun of inherited programming. Trauma is too. It's less about what happened and more about what got trapped and unprocessed and passed on from our daily programming. The good news is what's inherited can be interrupted, liberated, and innovated. What's inherited can be interrupted. When we name the code, we claim the signal, and that's where liberation begins. As trauma and drama was never born within us, they're broadcast to us from the outside world and through our parents in the womb and everything. From family scripts to cultural conditioning, most emotional turbulence is inherited, never chosen. We absorb patterns of fear, guilt, and chaos from the outside world, mistaking them for veracity. Once we see the source, we can write a fresh signal, and liberation begins when we stop rehearsing what was handed down and start energetically listening and using maverick questions to rise within ourselves. Why trauma and drama is inherited. Parent and social programming. Trauma and drama is parent and social programming are emotional blueprints written in survival ink from birth, where we immersed in atmospheres shaped by fear, control, and conformity. Parents pass down emotional reflexes, shame, guilt, silence, never as the truth, but as tools they once used to survive. See, we've been actually unknowingly embedded survival mode mindsets and tools since we were from the womb to 5 years old, and then from there on. Society reinforces these scripts with norms, roles, and expectations. The result, a layered code of trauma and drama we mistake for identity. Inherited drama is the choreography of collective conditioning. We never just mimic our parents, we mirror the emotional tone of the culture and the community we live. Social programming teaches us to perform, suppress, and react in ways that serve systems, never our souls. Drama becomes a default language of belonging, and trauma the price of fitting in. Liberation begins when we stop dancing to their rhythm and start composing our own way of life. Trauma is the echo of unprocessed emotional atmospheres. Parent and social programming embed emotional snapshots into our nervous system, soul tattoos, and emotional snapshots. Moments of fear, rejection, or pressure that never got metabolized. These echoes shape our reactions, relationship, and sovereign valor. Once we name the source, we claim the signal. Sovereignty begins when we stop rehearsing inherited pain and start authoring our authentic emotional veracity. Why trauma and drama are inherited from outside sources. We were never born dramatic. We were programmed to perform the drama and trauma. From family dynamics to cultural scripts, most of our emotional chaos is never sovereignly authored. It's rehearsed and replayed during our day. We inherit roles like the fixer, the rebel, or the pleaser, never because they're true, but because they kept us safe in someone else's storms. How has most of your childhood come from your parents, their storms, their norm, and their way of life? Trauma travels through generations like a bad text. If it's never healed, it's handed down. Emotional patterns, fear, guilt, shame get passed like heirlooms, disguised as personality, yet just because it's familiar never means it's yours to carry. Drama often is a download, never a decision. We absorb, inherit emotional turbulence from media, family, society, like secondhand smoke. It clouds our clarity, hijacks our nervous system, emotional snapshots, and the body wisdom, and convinces us chaos is normal. Liberation begins when we hit the unsubscribe button to our childhood inheritance. Why trauma and drama is inherited emotional snapshots. Emotional snapshots are energetic imprints, never personal truths. Trauma and drama often begin as someone else's unresolved moment, an emotional snapshot frozen in time. These snapshots get passed through tone, tension, and behavior, embedding themselves in our nervous systems like ghost files. See, a lot of things that happen in the physical world, we already have a representation and a reactionary uh, output to control that. And usually it's the one we inherited from yesterday. We carry the charge, but never the choice until we awaken to the pattern. Inherited drama is a slideshow of survival, never identity. What looks like my issue is often a replay of ancestral or cultural coping. These emotional snapshots were once adaptive ways to belong and avoid danger or stay invisible. As we mistake them for who we are, we live in someone else's slideshow instead of our own sovereign nowography. See, we got to write a nowography starting from here, right here, and put frequencies into the future. We want to image everything here. Once the image is, because we never really go to the future, we go from day to day. But we want to write a sovereign nowography. Trauma is a snapshot that never got processed. So it keeps playing unprocessed pain that never disappears. It loops, it shows up in reactions, relationships, and roles. I can witness that and verify that happens to me yet today. But now that I'm open to it and I can name it, I can shed the shame and blame, because these emotional snapshots act like energetic pop-ups demanding attention until we pause, feel, and frame the fresh foresight we ascertain. Liberation begins when we stop being the photo and become the photographer of our dreams. Why everything you think, know, learn from indoctrinated education is inherited program. Indoctrinated education installs default autopilot mental software, never sovereign wisdom. From the alphabet to authority, you were taught what to think, and how to answer the question to please your teacher. We've been taught since the school system, answer questions that pleases the teacher. So we always were taught to be pleasers instead of innovators. The system rewards obedience, never optimistic originality. What you know is often just memorized consensus, legacy logic passed down to preserve control, never awaken clarity. And if you look at the world today, that's very true, because we got this that business and education is going to rise us out of the same situation from yesterday that we're in today. Inherited programming disguises itself as truth, but it's repetition with a diploma. And that's what education is repetition with a diploma. Most of what you believe was absorbed through repetition, reward, and fear of rejection. Indoctrinated education never teaches wisdom, it teaches conformity. You were never educated, you were formatted to fit into social obedience. Liberation begins when you stop quoting the textbooks and start asking maverick questions to the source and about your life. Your thoughts are often echoes, never expressions. What you think is you is often a collage of inherited scripts, parental fears, cultural norms, institutional agendas, and ancestor survival mode programming. Doctrinated education reinforces everything with grades, praise, and punishment. Once you see the programming, you stop the echo and start emanating and emancipating your emotions and energize your enterprising wizardry. Why trauma and drama are inherited soul tattoos. Soul tattoos are emotional imprints passed through energetic lineage. Trauma and drama often arrive before memory, etched into our being through ancestral pain, cultural scripts, and early emotional atmospheres. These soul tattoos are never chosen, they're absorbed. And we absorb things when we're in the womb from our what's going on with our parents. They shape how we feel, react, and relate until we learn to read them and never relive them. It's really about learning to read and liberate and enterprise. You're listening to rise, shine, and expand out of them. Inherited drama is linked in survival, never sovereignty. These soul tattoos were once protective marks, responses to chaos, control, or silence. Yet they once helped someone endure, now keeps us repeating because the comfort zone thinks that's the way life should be. We repeat pain thinking it was for our higher good. Instead of questioning the pain, where's the wisdom that rises me out of it? Liberation begins when we stop honoring the ink and start now writing the meaning of our nowography, our dreams, and our accomplished outcomes to experience our desired life. Trauma is a tattoo that whispers until it's heard. It shows up in patterns, triggers the roles, asking to be decoded, never denied. These inherited marks carry messages, never mandates. When we energetically listen with clarity, we unfold from the ink and from the burden to the fashion, design, dexterity of our dreamers' prowess. Why trauma and drama is inherited survival programming. Survival programming is an ancestral software running on outdated fear logic. Trauma and drama often stem from emotional codes written during someone else's crisis. How was your parents' crisis embedded in you through the womb until 5 years old? Mine was. Once I awakened to this and I understand it, I rose out of it. These programs were designed to protect, never to liberate me and you. We inherit them through tone, tension, and behavior, mistaking them for personality when they're really legacy scripts of begging for a now right of your own wisdom, intuition, and expansion. Inherited drama is the nervous system's loyalty to old alarm. Our bodies remember what our minds forgot. Survival programming embeds itself in our reactions, fight, flight, or freeze mechanism, never because we're broken, but because we're repeating. Drama is never a dysfunction, it's a signal loop from someone else's storm and their trauma and drama, still echoing in ourselves. Trauma is a protective pattern that's outlived its purpose. What once kept someone safe now keeps us small and stalled out in life. These inherited programs run beneath awareness, shaping choices, relationships, and self worth. Liberation begins when we stop obeying the codes and start authoring our authentic sovereign signals of liberation. While admitting you inherited your programming from your parents, social obedience, indoctrinated education, and from the womb to 5 years old, admitting dissolves weaknesses. Rising to wisdom with swagger. Owning and underrating that your emotional reflexes, beliefs, and identity scripts were downloaded before you could speak or understand what's going on. And when you open up to understand your liberating, energetic liberation, destroys self-blame and shame, itself, its sovereign activation. You realize you never choose the code, yet now you get to now write your here and nowography with your dreams and your desired lifestyle and your accomplished outcomes. That destroys defeat to esteem, fashion, design, dexterity. Early programming is like invisible ink. It shapes everything until you shine light on it. From the womb to 5 years old, you were soaking in emotional atmospheres, obedience, cues, and cultural scripts from your parents and your daily life and school system. Admitting this never makes you a victim. It makes you a decoder to rise, shine, and energize your wanderer's curiosity. You stop reacting from history and start responding from the here and now sovereignty of your own innovative wit. Calling out the indoctrination is how you colorfully claim your imagination. Social obedience trains you to color inside the lines you never drew. First, remember this? Color inside the lines to make mom and dad happy. Color inside the lines to make your teacher. That was your first programming of followerocracy. The instant you admit programming, you stop performing and start innovating. You become the authentic author, the megastar, and energizing where the real magic begins and you win. While understanding and admitting your inherited programming destroys being attached to your past. Admitting the programming reveals past was a pattern, never a prophecy. Once you see that your reactions, beliefs, and emotional loops were inherited, never authored, you stop mistaking history for your here and now identity. The past loses its script because you decoded the script. You're no longer bound by what happened. You're free to choose what happens now. Understanding the code dissolves the emotional glue. Trauma and drama stick when they feel personal. But when you realize they were downloaded from parents' culture, early survival, nervous system, the charge phase, you stop clinging to the story and start editing the software. The past becomes data, never a destiny, coloring your here and now with your dreams. Naming the inheritance breaks the spell of self-blame and self-shame. You were never broken, you were programmed. And see, that's what the world is programming. Right now we're programmed in education and business. We're not in we're not open to the flowing energy of our intuition imagination to understand. And AI is starting to program people, and I'm guilty there, but how is AI programming you instead of liberating you? The shift in awareness is liberation. It turns shame into insight, regret into clarity, attachment into authentic authorship. The past stops being a prison and becomes a portal of prowess, optimism, realizing today's adventurous lure shows you through life. Why social obedience, social obedience, soul tattoos, emotional snapshots, and comfort zone programming are inherited. You never choose the rules, you are marinated in them. From the womb to 5 years old, from lullabies to lunch, lines to society starts scripting you before you can spell your name. That's true. Social obedience is never a decision. It's a download of conformity and followerocracy. You were trained to sit still, smile nice, and shrink your signal to fit into the comfort zone frame of your parents and society and everything else. That was never a personality, it's programming. Social tattoos are inked in silence and approve. You got stamped with be good, don't never question, stay small before you were even knew you had a skin in the game. These emotional snapshot moments of shame, praise, or punishment etch themselves into your nervous system. Now they whisper, stay safe, don't stand out. Safety is never sovereignty. Comfort zone programming is just fear in a cozy costume. You inherited the idea that familiar equals safe, that discomfort equals dangers. That's never the truth. It's legacy logic. The comfort zone is never comfort. It's a padded cage, and every time you obey it, you reinforce someone else's limits, never your own potential. While you unknowingly inherited your parent programming and ancestor survival mode mindsets, you were absorbing these before you were aware. From the womb to early childhood, your nervous system was soaking in emotional atmospheres, behavioral patterns, and survival reflexes. You never choose these mindsets. They were modeled, mirrored, and embedded before your conscious mind came online. What feels like you is often just early energetic absorption of whatever was out of your other programming, of outside programming. Survival mindsets are passed down like emotional heirlooms. Your ancestors never hand you trauma, they handed you strategies, fear of scarcity, hypervigilance, people pleasing. These were once adaptive, yet when inherited without context, they become invisible operating system. You were never broken. You were running on a legacy code from yesterday's whatever. Parent programming is the first language your psyche learns. Before you spoke words, you spoke energy. Crying is energy. You learned what was safe, what was forbidden, and what earned love through tone, reaction, and silence. These early imprints form your emotional grammar. Admitting this is never weakness, it's a gateway to now writing your inner dictionary of your dreamers' paradises. Why energized listening, maverick questions, energizes energetic liberation, autonomous expansion, sovereign activation that sheds, shreds, and communicates away your inherited programming. Energized listening tunes you to the sovereign signal and sovereign activation beneath the script. As you listen with sovereign presence, never for agreement, yet for energetic veracity, you begin to hearken the difference between your voice and your programming. This kind of energetic listening is never passes. It's alchemy. It dissolves inherited noise, amplifies your authentic frequencies, dancing you through life with ease. Maverick questioning breaks the trance of inherited logic. Default questions reinforce default thinking. As you ask you ask the sapient sideways soul slicing questions, you disrupt the emotional architecture of obedience. Maverick questioning dissolves seeking answers to seeking candid, clear clarity. And clarity is the solvent that melts the legacy codes. Together they activate your inner architect, never your inner actor. Energized listening and maverick questioning never justify the challenge programming. They now wire it. They shed the inherited roles, shred the emotional snapshots, and communicate new, fresh neural pathways into being. You stop performing the past and instantly design your expansion. Why admitting I encompass inherited programming liberates me. Admitting I encompass turns unconscious loops into conscious leverage. When you name the programming, parental, cultural, and ancestral programming you stop being part of your life, and you stop being the actor and become the author of your life. You shift from reacting to now writing the script of your sovereign activation. Awareness is the off switch for autopilot, and the ignition is your energetic liberation. It dissolves shame and blame, innovates with wisdom that you were never broken, you were brilliantly adaptive. That 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 awakening now frames your past from flaw to function. By owning the inheritance, you stop blaming, shaming yourself, instantly decoding the system. As liberation is never about erasing, it's about innovating clairvoyant clarity in the here and now. As you liberate your frequencies, coloring your future accomplished outcomes, dissolving your history's grip of inherited programming that thrives in secrecy. Once you admit it, the spell breaks. You stop dragging old emotional snapshots and ancestral architecture into the here and now spaces. Sovereign activation begins when you say this, never mind, I choose to be defiantly different now. Why shedding, shredding, and communicating away inherited programming, social obedience, indoctrinated education, third world enslaving mindsets, and comfort zone programming liberates you to rise of your here and now nirvana. Shedding inherited programming is a halt torture for the soul. It liberates the soul. You're never here to wear outdated emotional hand-me-downs. Social obedience and indoctrinated education stitched you into roles that, sh- that shrink your signal. Shedding them is never a rebellion. It's a refinement of your own unfolded ubiquitous nerve to feel the optimism loving today. It's the way you tailor your veracity to fit your sovereign silhouettes. Shredding enslaving mindsets is your energetic emancipation. Third world survival scripts and comfort zone conditioning were designed to keep you small, silent, and safe. Comfort zone conditioning was designed to keep you small, silent, and safe. Yet safety is never sovereignty. Shredding these mental chains and uh, autopilot ways is never destruction, it's declaration. You're never escaping, you're expanding the grandeur of you. Communicating your liberation is how you broadcast your nirvana frequency to the from now to the future. When you name the programming, you neutralize its power. As you express your clarity, you activate others' clarity. Your voice becomes a tuning fork for veracity, vibrating with leadership, presence, purpose, and scenarios of your dreams and desired lifestyle. That's never healing, it's ascension. Why dissolving inherited programming liberates me. Dissolving the code deletes the cage. Inherited programming is never your truth. It's emotional malware. It runs in the background, shaping your reaction, relationships, and self-worth. When you dissolve it, you never just feel better, you claim the bandwidth of your unfolded brilliance. You stop surviving and instantly start signalizing your wizardry through the world. Liberation is an inner rising rebellion. Instantly authors your nowography. You stop performing someone else's script. Dissolving the programming lets you now write your emotional adventures from clarity, destroying social conditioning. You stop echoing old noise and start composing your forthright frequencies that massage you from now to forever. That intertwines liberating defiance and fashion designer's dexterity to flow through your veins of visionary epiphany. Freedom flows where falsehood fades. When you name the inherited patterns, obedience, guilt, fear, they lose their grip. You shed the emotional costumes and step into your sovereign skin. Dissolving the programming is never healing. It's the energetic emancipation, liberating you to stroll through life with the greatest of ease. And I am Robert Wilson with Cowboy Wisdom Hypno Acuity. This is about what this Hypno Acuity is about: liberation, wisdom, inspiration, and clarity. And never being in the past, but understanding the here and now liberates you from everything, energizing the frequency of your future. And I want to thank you, and I'm going to say good night. And may your weekend be as blessed as you are a blessing to the world.